Hey, it's Giguk, and you're watching Pixel Party Pals. Woo! I got it right on my first take. It is!
Hey guys, how are we doing? So we're back at another Giguk video, and I know it's not one you've been suggesting. You want me to do the guide to Tsundere and Yandere and la la la, but I seen this and I thought this would be quite funny. CG in anime. Now, I've noticed it's quite a thing at the moment. It happens quite a lot. Even in the very popular stuff, like Overlord, for example, has a lot of bad CG in it. Planet With was an example of something that I really enjoyed that had it in. Just seems to be happening quite a lot, and I think it's to save on budget and stuff, seeing as animators in Japan don't get paid all that much and they work a lot of hours and on a very tight schedule at times. And so I'd like to see Giguk's opinion on the matter. Plus, I guarantee there will be funny moments, because it's Giguk and he always manages to throw something in. So, let's get into this. This is bad CG in anime.
Everybody run! It's coming!
Oh no!
It's coming!
Oh no!
We're being attacked by bad CG!
Oh my god!
Anime and CG have not had
Nice to
the best public relationship.
Yeah.
The general reaction from someone when they hear the mere mention of CG being integrated
Oh
into
god, that ruined
anime
Ghost in the Shell, that
is that they pack up
though.
and start running a fucking mile like they just found out we're getting invaded by Nazis, or even more horrifyingly, CG Nazis. But today I wanted to evaluate if CG really deserves its reputation within the anime community. What are some examples of it being used well and badly, and what are some of the different ways that CG have been integrated into anime? So first, we need to answer the question, what is bad CG? And here's the catch. You aren't allowed to use any word that rhymes with Shishmirk 2017. Well, if we look at the dictionary definition of bad CG, we can quite clearly see that, oh for fuck's sake! I'm sure we can all agree that it is CGI effects that is noticeable enough to take you out of your immersion and break your suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
Out of place objects, some stupid looking expression, a lot of things can take you out of an experience, but that's the thing to keep in mind. Bad CG is bad CG because you notice bad CG. Bad CG. Sorry, I just wanted to say bad CG one more time. I think a good place to start is just seeing how the general use and look of CG has evolved over time. We normally associate CG with more modern age anime, but CG effects have been around for a lot longer than people think, and over time has gotten better at blending in objects. If you look at most modern anime carefully, you'd be hard pressed to find one that doesn't incorporate some sort of computer rendered objects in it, and a lot of the time you don't notice because it's not something that significant. There's been a lot of debate over how CG has changed the general look of mechs over the years, and honestly I think it comes down to how bland and forgettable modern mechs feel. They all move the same, they all feel the same, with the same clunky video game style that never looks quite as natural as hand-drawn mechs. Nothing becomes as memorable even if you have a cool design. I mean, fuck! Chamber from Suicide no Gargantia had the thighs of a seasoned Las Vegas pole dancer, and this was never appreciated enough. Damn, boy, he's sick! That's a kick-ass boy! Whether it be to speed up the production time or make up for a lack of talent who can animate mechs well, it feels like CG mechs are used as a compensation tool rather than a deliberate creative decision, because when done correctly, they look just as fantastic.
Yeah, they can.
The sequences of the unicorn transforming look fucking amazing, and the reason they do this is because they're done in CG. Trying to animate this level of complicated mechanical panel movement would be absurdly difficult.
It would take
by hand, and they managed to make it not look like an in-engine video game cutscene. However, one thing that the industry is still figuring out how to do correctly is with characters, and it doesn't matter if they're in the foreground or the background. There's an old Chinese proverb that goes, life is like a crosswalk, full of opportunity in every direction.
Right.
Unless that crosswalk contains a CG anime crowd, in which case you're probably joining in hell. CGI crowds are the one thing I think are destined to always look like complete shit. Nothing's more distracting than when there's something important going on, but your brain is unable to focus on anything but the same five PlayStation 2 motherfuckers hanging out in the background.
It's like in Zombieland Saga right now, whenever they do the dance scenes on stage in the CG. Oh.
Why does everyone look like bad CG? Am I the bad CG nightmare right now?
No.
And I really did try finding a good example of anime CGI crowds, so if anyone does have any good examples, then please contact me at CGI crowds that don't make my eyes want to commit suicide at gmail.com. But this extends to foreground
I wonder if anyone
where you have
sent
to
any
battle
emails to
against
that.
this weird uncanny valley effect where characters kind of look anime, but not anime enough, so when they're just there, front and center with no attempt to blend it in, your brain has time to process what you're watching, so you kind of notice, wait a minute, these are the same guys they hired to do the Mass Effect Andromeda facial animation.
Oh god. Brilliant.
Even when they look competent, when you are restricted to 3D models emulating a 2D art style, there is less freedom to work with when it comes to subtle expressions, nuanced character animation, and even the best examples we've had so far don't even come close to the best examples in 2D animation. Yet. Things are looking better, but the next problem is actually being able to blend these two elements. The issue you face when you blend 2D animation with 3D elements is the aesthetic clash. When we are watching an animated show, we know it is an animated show that does not exist within our universe, but we are fully invested in suspending our disbelief for that world. However, if you see two objects that blatantly look like they don't belong in the same universe, it works against that suspension of disbelief.
Yes, it does.
Kamui is the latest example of this, where you have standard anime characters fighting that fucking bear from Far Cry 5 with a cel-shaded wolf in a background of green screen fire effects.
What?
The visual cohesion is an absolute mess, and personally, I much prefer this early leaked test footage, as at least it has a uniform visual style, which, you know, just makes the fight it's just far more believable.
That was an advert for something, wasn't it? I can't
only really
remember.
work when the juxtaposition is
That's
purposefully
amazing.
part of the visual style, or when it's supposed to happen narratively. There are, however, effective ways to blend the two elements that we are seeing more often. When CG is limited to dynamic background environments, the fast-paced movement of the foreground animation is only enhanced,
Yes.
allowing for more freedom of camera.
That is a
movements,
good way of
resulting in
using
being able
it.
to do complex shots like this, without giving the viewer adequate time to notice the aesthetic clash. There are countless examples from Attack on Titan to Code Geass, Akito the Exiled, even some of the more intricate shots from Monogatari which fully take advantage of this, or with other shows that had some shots that were rotoscoped with the aid of CG tools. The important thing is that the
Makes it look
CG
awesome.
is never the main focus, or is rendered in such a way that it naturally fits in with the visual style of the show. In this sense, Ufotable are the fucking gods at this. Throughout the years they have perfected the art of digital composition and blending traditional animation with computer-aided effects to the point where you can
Cool.
hardly tell the difference. My
Man.
first exposure to them was their first take on the Fate franchise, and no, not you, get the fuck out of here. And at the time it blew me away. I thought anime couldn't look better than this, but then they came back with
That's
Unlimited
amazing.
Blade Works, and no, not fucking you! And have
That's
continually
amazing.
improved and pushed the boundaries so much so that they have crafted a unique visual style which is instantly recognizable. And no one really calls this CG anime despite how much they use it.
Yeah, there's a
but
lot,
moving
isn't
on,
there?
a different problem from blending 2D and 3D is when you are completely switching between the
Ooh,
two.
yeah, it's
Let me
very
set the
jarring.
scene. You're enjoying a classic show. It looks awesome, the characters look great, and we're just about to get to the heart-pumping action scene. Then, without any warning, it cuts to the action, and you notice something's a bit off about the way the show looks. And
That's
then
brilliant.
just as you get used to it, it switches back to before, and you're like, okay, maybe my eyes were being funny. Then you begin to look really closely, and slowly
It's just
you
like,
realise that maybe there is something different about the way the show looks. Constantly switching from 2D to 3D to 2D again is a guaranteed method to make the viewer feel a sense of visual whiplash, and this to me is right up there with CG crowds for anime things that fucking keep me up at night. The most recent offenders I can think of are with Inuyashiki and the Berserk movie trilogy, and the thing is, the CG sometimes doesn't even look bad. I wouldn't even
Right.
mind if some of these shows were fully 3D, it's just a no, shut the fuck up! It's just the constant switching between visual styles that break any kind of immersion you could be having. And I would prefer it so much if they just chose one style and committed to it. I mean, we've all heard of jazz hands, but have you tried the hottest trend? Bad CG piano hands. What people don't normally talk about, however, is that the switch can be done well if we stick to some of the same rules we talked about. Kill la Kill is a good example. If I tell you Kill la Kill used a lot of CG, your mind will probably go back to that one time Satsuki was apparently ice skating vertically up a building, which, how can I eloquently put this? It looks shit.
Yeah.
But what you probably don't know is just how many cuts were completely CG, like this shot, or this shot,
Oh,
or
wow.
this entire sequence, where they built an entirely new 3D model just to accentuate these few frames. And unless you are flicking through frame by frame and know exactly what to look for, you won't even notice, exactly because it was disguised so well as opposed
wow,
to
that's
being
good.
lauded front and center. But that leads into the big daddy. Fully 3D anime. If there
Okay,
was a
so
final
Knights
boss
of
for the
Sidonia
anime
and
industry, this would be it. And for most of the time so
Kei-Jin, is it
far,
called?
anime has handled it about as well as a Facebook surfing Candy Crush addicted grandma attempting a no-hits run on Dark Souls.
Oh, no.
The problem a lot of us had with early CG anime was that they
Appleseed.
seemingly came in with the approach of trying to emulate the 2D art style with a completely different tool. And it doesn't take a genius to tell you that if you aren't using your tools correctly, it probably won't go well. Movement felt restricted and robotic. Characters just weren't as expressive. The frame rate sometimes looks really dodgy as they purposely restricted it. Something even one guy who helped make
Montio
figured out was a dumb fuck idea before an entire industry did. They didn't play to their strengths, but despite this, as time went on, things began improving. Acceptable shows started appearing. We slowly started to accept that maybe there could be a space for CG anime. And just as we thought things were starting to look up, Berserk 2016 came crash landing into the sea. Oh, fuck. But it's okay. Thanks to the collective effort of every half-decent CG anime to come out, we managed to stop
like
this
Space
from ruining
Pirate, I
everything.
enjoyed that.
Quick, Polygon Pictures, release something half-decent and maybe we can get out of it. Are you fucking kidding me? Kimono Friends, Nobunaga Concierto, Kado. These were fully 3D shows that managed to be enjoyable, but the problem is I feel these shows were enjoyable in spite of its CG, not because of it.
Oh.
Over the years, Polygon Pictures have tried their damned hardest to make a case for fully 3D anime, and continually improves with every project they work on. But to me, it's the same problem. There's nothing that makes me think I would rather see these shows using CG over traditional animation if given an aesthetic choice. That is, until we got the one show we were waiting for. Land of the Lustrous. A show like this was
I see this pop up a
despite
lot.
how many opinions it changed about CG anime, it didn't really do anything new that we haven't already discussed. What it did do was understand what the strengths were for CG as a tool
Wow.
and play to those strengths.
Look at that.
The CG crystal effects and metallic
Oh.
textures gave the show a unique visual identity that wouldn't be as striking if it were in 2D, and the number of dynamic shots it was able to pull off in its action scenes, chase scenes, or just using long shots to build this claustrophobic tension is something that could only be achieved using CG. Hopefully by the end of this you can get the idea that despite the reputation CG in anime has right now, CG can look good and has looked
Oh, yeah.
good for years. Even if you're not a fan of the aesthetic seen in Polygon Pictures' works or Land of the Lustrous, you've probably appreciated it even if you didn't know. But that's just it. It's a lose-lose situation because if CG does its job well, it won't even be noticed, but if it does fail, then it's forever doomed to have some shitty anime YouTuber cement it into meme history. Its failures are exposed and its successes are ignored, but it's important to note that whether it's good
Oh,
or
it's always
bad
easier to
largely
point out
depends on the
flaws.
understanding from the creator of the strengths and limitations of working with CG as a tool, as it is with every other medium. CG has become a standard part of anime nowadays, so
I mean,
if you're
God,
not a fan
people
of that,
like
then
jump
I can
into my
suggest
comment
that you watch
section and
older
like give me
anime.
negative
Take
stuff
the
over
80s, for
positive.
example. Computer effects
I
may
find
have
quite
started
funny.
to become revolutionary in Hollywood, but anime was still untouched and pure. You know, back then they would never ruin their anime by rendering things using ugly PlayStation 1 graphics. Because they were too busy rendering things with a fucking Atari 2600.
Boss.
Oi, bro! Why is your helicopter bad CG? Why is your face bad CG? Why is your life bad CG?
Oh God.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much this month too. Sun Fun Down, Me Team Lebanon, Big Black Hawk 60, Sisters 10086,
That was a good video.
Edical, Robert Heinborg, and everyone else on my Patreon.
I kind of think you missed out though on mentioning the fact. Well, I might be wrong.
Changed my location back again.
I might be wrong,
Back in America,
but
and I will be attending AX.
I was
in LA
under the
just a few
understanding
weeks.
that
I have a very busy schedule,
CG is
so
used in
if you're going to be
spots
attending AX as well, keep an eye out for
save
that, as I'll
on
be posting
costs.
that soon. Anyway, that's it for me today. Not too many updates,
Because
but until then,
for how much
I'm
animation
Big Up, and I will see you all
is and
next
how much
time.
animators get paid and stuff and how much of a tight schedule they are. I thought that was a factor with the bad CG in anime as well at times. Like was as well. Goblin Slayer's a weird one because like, you just keep switching from him being animated to CG and it's really like wow, why? But I think it's because of the armor and that, and everyone else has got such a more simplistic character design. There isn't the complexity of the armor and stuff. Not that it's majorly complex. It's just it must be easier to animate the simple clothing that everyone else wears, whatever what Goblin Slayer wears. There you got Overlord, where you've got crowds of like CG armies running, and the goats that killed all those people in that. Like it must have just been easier to CG it than draw it. But I don't know. But he's not wrong. There are some really good examples. Like Fate's Day Night Unlimited Blade Works is freaking awesome. It looks beautiful, and yeah, he's not wrong. If you can like throw in the camera flips with the CG and that, like, and in the fight scenes, it looks cool. So yeah, cool video. I like it. Thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys, yes, all of you guys, next time.